I said salute to the untouchable True School Sports Empire.
That's
Taking
right, the
over
untouchable.
not only the South Florida boxing scene, but the worldwide boxing scene.
Well, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, interesting news in the super middleweight division. You know, there's been a lot of mess in the division, and you know, Zach Parker, he's been pretty much, for lack of a better term, he's been dicked around all year, not being able to fight Demetrius Andrade and everything that came along with that. You know, you have John Ryder, who picked up the biggest win of his career earlier in the year against Daniel Jacobs, where a lot of people weren't giving him a chance, and a lot of people had the audacity to claim that he was the beneficiary of a gift decision when Daniel Jacobs didn't even come to fight that night. Daniel Jacobs had the body language of a guy who was looking for a way out and of a beat fighter. But anyway, I digress. The news in this video is that Zach Parker and John Ryder have reached terms for a fight for the WBO interim title in late November. So winner of this fight could be in position to fight Canelo Alvarez. We know Canelo Alvarez is going to take some time off because he said he had problems with his hand in his last fight and he wants to rest. So in the intermediate time, the way I'm looking at it is, I think when Canelo does come back, there's always been discussions about Canelo wanting to fight in England. I could definitely see Canelo fighting the winner of this fight in England. So make of that what you will. But Parker versus John Ryder, first and foremost, I think it's a good fight. I think it's a really good fight because, first of all, anybody who knows me, when it comes to the super middleweight division, I've said for a long time, for the better part of 3 years now, that I think that John Ryder is the most underrated 68-pounder in the world. He really beat Callum Smith, and he beat Daniel Jacobs. So the way I see it, he's one of the better 68-pounders out there. Southpaw, strong, durable, doesn't get tired. Not the most aesthetically pleasing fighter in the world, but a guy that punches hard, a guy that is a tough out for anybody. You're not going to go in there and just starch John Ryder. It's been proven when he was at 160, when he fought Billy Joe, on the British title. He's gotten better since that fight, but I'm just saying, like, you look at his career for the most part, especially later in his career, because he's gotten better as he's matured. You know, he has been a tough out for everybody he's fought, and to me, much better. He's a better fighter than the 31-5 record will indicate. That's just my plight on John Ryder. Zach Parker, on the other hand, though, Zach Parker, this is a guy that was supposed to get the Andrade fight. A lot of people thought that this was going to be a breakout year for him, and I look at this fight as a good fight for him. You know, because John Ryder on paper is definitely the best fighter he's fought to date. Zach Parker, you know, tall, long, rangy, can box, can punch, can switch hit. Seems to be improving with every fight. You know, he's not too far removed from a knockout win, second round stoppage win over the always tough, very game and formidable, gatekeeper, Vaughn Alexander. And so, you know, with that being said, I'm looking at this fight as the test in the career of Zach Parker, because the reality is, and I'm sorry, I know like people like Rick Glazer, and shout out to Rick. I love Rick Glazer. That's my guy. I never have nothing bad to say about Rick as a person, because he's never treated me bad. But like Rick Glazer, people like Rick Glazer can sell you on the idea that Zach Parker is the all that in a bag of chips, But the reality is, the best fighter he's fought in his boxing career so far is Vaughn Alexander. You know, beating Marcus Morrison, along with that, you know, doesn't necessarily oversell me on the idea that Zach Parker is this real deal. Now, is he improving? Yes, but 4 years ago, and I know it was 4 years ago, and he's not the same fighter, but he did have that controversial fight, one of the worst robberies in the history of British boxing, against Darrell Williams. And there's still a lot of questions out there about Zach Parker. Now, with John Ryder, I don't have questions, because I know with John Ryder that he's mixing up with some of the best fighters that have fought in the 168 division. And I know that John Ryder, albeit he does have 5 losses, I know that John Ryder is better than his record indicates. I know that John Ryder, in terms of stamina, is going to be a problem for anybody in the back half of a fight. And I know that John Ryder, at that southpaw stance, is going to be a problem as well, being that he's a southpaw who's built like a slugger. Like, he has the body type of a guy who likes to slug it out. So with that being said, it's a tough matchup for Zach Parker. If Zach Parker is a Queensberry promotional, manufactured star, we're gonna find out in this fight because John Ryder will and does have the capabilities to take Zach Parker to those deep, dark, uncomfortable places we talk about here on True School Sports, where he's never been before. So, to me, when this fight comes off, it is a watershed moment. It will be a watershed moment, no, zero doubts about it, in the career of Zach Parker. And we'll see what he's all about. So, yeah, that's the news. Winner of this fight will be interim champion and be in prime position to fight Canelo. Now, I have always said that John Ryder, like body type-wise, maybe not as far as ability, but as far as his body type, he's kind of like the Canelo of the UK because it's his body type and the way he fights. So I've always wanted to see Canelo Alvarez fight a guy that was kind of like similar to him in body type and tendencies and things like that. And I feel like in the 68 division, 168, probably the closest thing to that, style-wise, not as far as level of ability, but style-wise, would be John Ryder. So, and listen, the way I see it, if Canelo were to beat a guy like John Ryder at 68, to me, it would be a second best win in the weight class behind Caleb Plant because John Ryder is better than Billy Joe Saunders was at 68. Billy Joe never did anything at 68 before fighting Canelo. Callum Smith lost to John Ryder, and that's just what it is. So, yeah, make of that what you will. Zach Parker, John Ryder have agreed to terms. They're eyeing a fight for next month for the interim title. A step up in the career of Zach Parker, who I believe will be a favorite going in. But I think John Ryder, like in all of his fights, is more than a live underdog and has enough experience, capabilities to upset the apple cart once again, the same way he did with Daniel Jacobs back in it was January and February. So, yeah. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about this fight. What do you make of John Ryder's chances in the fight? Do you give him a chance against Zach Parker? And who do you think would be the tougher matchup for Canelo Alvarez if Canelo Alvarez was to fight one of these two once they capture the interim title? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.
And I think True School Sports, he's the truth. One of the best YouTube, the best.
Ooh, the number one.
Number one.
Brandon, you've been there, man, and you're building up a good following with us.
Thank you.
And I'm proud to be a part of what you're doing too. You are spectacular, and
Thank you, man. All the best to True School Boxing and keep up the good work.